alternative the world presents for the biblical teaching, the biblical view of marriage. Playboyism. Playboyism. Now, in a particular movie, Amitabh Bachchan was asked which woman he was in that particular weekend, or he had sex with that particular weekend, and he says, I don't remember her name, Saturday? Which means he was a playboy in that movie. The movie, he doesn't even remember the women he slept with, he calls them the day of the week. Was it Saturday? Playboyism. Halle Berry, one of the highest paid actresses of Hollywood. 2 failed marriages later, she had 2 kids. And now the second one is, she's 46 years old and she's pregnant. Pregnant through a man who's not a husband. The first child she already had, that 2 out of marriage. Now, 2 failed marriages. Now, I'm talking about this kind of lifestyle. Not only Halle Berry lives it, but we see that in our world around. Now, when my wife and I are into counseling ministry, we hear stories. We hear stories like these are from the mouths of people. No, actually, I'm not making this up. Now, there's a guy who dates a girl. This happens in a church setting in a particular Indian city. He goes out with a girl, and the girl is leading worship in the church. And the guy says, I'm going out with you, but don't tell anybody else. At the same time, he's going out with another girl in the same worship team. And he tells her, you don't tell anybody that we are both going out together. He tells her, you don't tell anybody that we are both going out together. 5 months later, they found out the guy is 2-timing them. Can you believe this? Playboy behavior, very common. Young people, before getting out of one romantic relationship, getting into another romantic relationship. It's as simple as brushing their teeth or washing their bum. Simple. Playboy behavior. Playboy behavior. What does the Bible say? If you read Song of Songs, chapter 8, it's a wonderful book of Song of Songs, which is talking about true love. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can find a message there on true romantic love from Song of Songs. In chapter 8, there's a verse there. It says, love is strong as death. Love is strong as death. True romantic love is for keeps. It should be strong. It is for one person. Love is as strong as death. Now, not only that, I also, by playboy behavior, I'm also talking about premarital sex. So if you're having premarital sex left, right, center, or even once in a while, why do you want to get married? Or you can at least postpone marriage. But I want to tell you something. The Bible actually teaches us that we must say no to premarital sex. I can think of several reasons. The Bible talks about a conscience that all of us have. It is the law of God written in our heart. I want to tell you, I read the story from Billy Graham's autobiography, Just As I Am. It's a good book to read. He's talking about his days when he was a school student before he was born again. Before he went in that meeting which Mordecai Ham preached and he gave his life to Jesus. Before that, as a school student, during practice, one night, after the practice was over, one girl was popular in the school for making out with boys, took him to a dark classroom and begged him to make love to her. And Billy Graham said, no, I'm not going to do that because that is against my conscience. Here was a young man, not living in India, but in America, in the American culture, not born again, saying no. Because it didn't seem right to have sex with me, with any other person who's not my wife. Conscience. Conscience. Then the court reason. Court or the first night reason. Court or the first night reason. My wife and I got married in the year 2001. And we had about 800 people at that wedding. Several people came forward and gave us big boxes of gifts. God was there at that wedding as well. He came to the stage and he also gave us a gift, a big box, and that box was written sex. That was God's gift for us. And though my wife and I knew each other for many years, we are glad on that night of our marriage, July 9, 2001, we unwrapped that gift together, sitting in our cot. That is one of the most satisfying nights of my life. Because I waited till marriage to have sex. That's the second motivation to say no to sex. The cot reason. Third reason, the condom reason. The condom reasons. Now, I was a student of Allahabad Agriculture Institute, and as students we went to nearby IIT Kanpur, and there we had Ramo Fernandez. Ramo Fernandez, the singer, he said, if you want to woo without the fear of AIDS, wear a condom. If you want to woo without the fear of AIDS, wear a condom. In fact, our inland letters also advise us that we wear condoms and have sex. I want to tell you something. Even husbands do not prefer condoms as a reliable way of stopping pregnancy, because there have been cases of the male sperm going through the condom and making the woman pregnant. And the male sperm is 450 times bigger than the AIDS virus. 450 times bigger. Now, to give you a crude analogy, if the male sperm was as tall as Ishant Sharma, the AIDS virus is as short as Amit Mishra of Sunrise, both of Sunrise Hyderabad. If Ishant Sharma can go through the condom and make the woman pregnant, Amit Mishra can definitely also go through. That's why in an AIDS conference in Washington in the year 1998, this was reported by a woman called Teresa Crenshaw. They asked the question, how many of you guys will have sex with the partner of your dreams wearing a condom if that partner is HIV infected? Not one fellow raised their hand, but these guys have the audacity to come and tell us, wear a condom and have sex. Dr. Satish, an AIDS activist in Bangalore, she says, I had 100 HIV cases last week. The IT companies contribute 20% to my patients' lists. Last week I received 26 cases exclusively from the call center sector. Condoms don't stop HIV infection always. The only safe sex there is, we must be grateful to the focus of the family ministry for coining this phrase. The only safe sex there is to save sex for marriage. Only safe sex there is to save sex for marriage. The fourth motivation to say no to premarital sex and playboy behavior, the command of God. Now, I was watching the movie Crudes with my kids. And the cartoon movie Crude, it's a very interesting movie. It's talking about a father who is very anxious that his children will go out of the cave and get into trouble. So he's giving them commands. He's protective about his kids. It's a very, very interesting movie. And but you know, some of us think of God like that. I know I'm going to talk about this a little bit. But you know, I want to tell you something. God has drawn boundaries, not boundaries as silly as the father in the movie Crude, but these are good boundaries. And the Bible talks about it. Right from Genesis, we read about Joseph when he called premarital sex great wickedness. In Genesis 39:9, he called premarital sex as great wickedness. Right to the book of Revelation, chapter 2, chapter 3, where Jesus is warning believers of the church during his time against sexual immorality. The Bible from Genesis to Revelation has several commands, edicts against sexual immorality, and specifically premarital sex. Not only edicts, but also examples. What is the frankest request in the Bible? I believe the frankest request in the Bible was made by Jacob when he went to his father-in-law and said, "Give me my wife so that I may sleep with her." The frankest request in the Bible. Genesis 29:21, which means he knew his wife for several years. They were in love. Maybe they were grazing the goats together, the sheep together, but they never had premarital sex. That's why Jacob asked his father-in-law, "Give me my wife. I want to sleep with her." So the Bible, through edict and example, gives us the command we should say no to premarital sex. And then the cost. Another C. Why we should say no to premarital sex and playboy behavior? The cost of it. I can tell you about Fanish Murthy. One time the poster boy for Infosys. When Infosys profit was about 2 or 3 million, as global sales head, he launched it to 700 million. But Fanish had an affair with an office colleague. Narendra Murthy had to, and the founder the chairman of Infosys had to fire him because of that. There were tears, but he didn't learn. His wife gave her own earnings and he started another company. Pretty soon he was under another affair, and then he joined iGate, and through iGate he was leading the company to buy a company twice its size. Such a dynamic corporate leader. Again, he had an affair with an office colleague in iGate. She became pregnant. He lost his job. The newspaper analyst said he blew his life. His corporate career is over. Consequences. After Steve Waugh retired, it was popularly thought that Shane Warne would be leading the Australian cricket team, but the leadership didn't go to him. Why? Shane Warne could not control sending sexy SMSs to women who are not his wife, the South African housewife or a British nurse. And then the news, I think there was a boardroom in the Australian cricket, in Australia, boardroom meeting of all these cricket administrators, and they would have said, if he can't lead himself, if he can't lead his fingers, he's sending sexy SMSs to women who are not his wife, how can he lead the team? If he can't lead his little finger, how can he lead the team? Consequences. Bill Clinton did a great job as American president, and some of the analysts said his face would be enshrined at Mount Rushmore along with the great faces like Abraham Lincoln. He was going great guns till Monica Lewinsky, a college intern who worked for his White House office, came in. He had a fling with her, and all of that evaporated. Consequences. Consequences. The Bible talks about Reuben in Genesis 49. Reuben, you shall be first no longer, even though you're the firstborn son, because you climbed into your father's bed and slept with your father's concubine. Reuben, you will not be first any longer. There are consequences. There are consequences. Let's move on. What is another reason why we should say no to premarital sex and playboy behavior? The cool factor. Many young people are telling me they're having premarital sex because they want to be cool. I am telling you just the opposite. If you want to be cool, you don't have premarital sex. A girl told one girl who didn't have premarital sex, said this to a girl who already had premarital sex. This is what she said: I can become like any of you at any moment. I can become like you, girl, at any moment. But you can't become like me. You get the argument? I can become like you at any moment, but you can't become like me. You can't put back paste inside a toothpaste again. Virginity lost is lost forever. I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody who has had premarital sex in this room. That's not my point. Jesus can wash your sin white. He can give you secondary virginity. He can forgive you. The servers in heaven can erase all your sins, and you will be a brand new man. You will be justified. It will be just as if you've never sinned. But I'm making a point because I'm talking to young people who still are dabbling. You're in a dilemma. Should I go ahead? Should I join the gang? Should I go ahead and have premarital sex? I'm talking to you, young man. It's cool to say no to premarital sex. Okay, so much about my third point, and I'm going to come. I hope my outline is not confusing. Okay, fine. We will give it to you. It will be on my website as well. All these resources are available online as well. Okay, the fourth wrong. Okay, what's the first wrong alternative? Homosexuality. Okay, second wrong alternative? Living in. Third wrong alternative? Okay, and then under Playboy I gave you 7 reasons, okay? I'm a preacher. I will find excuses to talk as long as possible. Okay.